Hello and welcome back to another review. Today we're going to cover one of the most important slices of the One Piece pie, the East Blue Saga. Yes, the very same one to be soon released by our Netflix overlords with their newest live action 10 episode series. You may be asking yourself, what even is the East Blue Saga? Well, the East Blue Saga is the first group of episodes that concludes an impactful portion of the One Piece story. And this saga covers the first 61 episodes of the anime where the foundation of the crew is formed and they set sail for the Grand Line. Within this saga, the following arcs occur: the Romance Dawn arc, the Orange Town arc, the Syrup Village arc, the Baratie Arc, the Arlong Park arc, and the Logtown arc. Let me start this off by saying I will not hold back any punches on this, due to this being one of my favorite animes. This section of story took me 6 times of watching to even get through. That means I had to watch Alvida get punched 6 times before I even realized that this show was worth my time. The reason for my inability to watch the show comes from a couple of reasons. Now don't let this discourage you, because by the time I got to the middle of the East Blue Saga, I realized the disservice I had done for myself. Let's start from the beginning though. There are quite a bit of shortcomings to the start of this anime. May it be the fact that it was still early in animation, the manga hadn't fully blown up to the proportion that it is now, or the fact that the show was still trying to find its footing. But the first 20 episodes are just grueling to me. I would also like to note that those 20 episodes encompass the Romance Dawn arc, the Orange Town arc, and the Syrup Village arc. I would say skip these, but you just can't with the amount of story that's packed in. From the reason behind Luffy's dream, and Zoro's ambition to become the world's greatest swordsman, to the introduction of Buggy the Clown and his connection to the red-haired pirate, Shanks. Oh, not to mention, we get Usopp and the Going Merry in these episodes. It's just something that is necessary to watch, as you'll miss way too much. Again, within these 20 episodes, from the voice acting to the animation, it's all very lackluster, but that's not to say it's all bad. The show does have its moments, and it does have its charm, but it's not until the middle of the saga that's where it really starts to shine. Now let me start off by sharing the reason why I struggled to get through the start of the show. The story wasn't bad, a little elongated, but of course that's important when you're building the foundational building blocks of your story. The characters were also interesting, but a single character and some of the voice acting were just so hard for me to get past. It's not like Luffy's voice actor did anything wrong, but I just did not like the high-pitched voice. I mean, at first I just couldn't help but cringe a bit while listening to Luffy. Let me give you a comparison to the shows I was enjoying primarily prior to getting into the series. I mean, you can see what I'm saying. When you have a main character in all these action-heavy shows that sounds like this,
"Who does this fool think he's dealing with?"
then coming over to One Piece, it's like listening to a cat trying to sing opera. But hey, I stuck with it, and you know what? Gradually I warmed up to that quirky voice. And it surprisingly grew on me like a catchy tune, and honestly it turned out to be a match made in anime heaven for him. Who would have thought that a hard to listen to voice could end up being the perfect fit in the end? You know though, in the grand scheme of things, he wasn't the sole reason I was stuck in this perpetual loop. So, let's talk about that character I just made mention of, and that's Usopp. Usopp was an entirely different story. His character was so obtuse, it was like picking up a child to board a pirate ship. And honestly, Usopp's character doesn't even flesh itself out truly until the Water 7 arc. Spoiler alert, Water 7 arc is not even close to the East Blue Saga. Like here we are, barely into this show. We have Zoro, the calm but battle-ready swordsman, Nami, the navigator who is boarded due to their shared interests, and Luffy, who by this time has already proven himself more than capable and a leader to follow on this pirate ship. Then you introduce this child with a slingshot, who is just a coward. Not only is he introduced, but he's the next member of the crew. That's the part I found so difficult. But I had been told plenty of times that if I could just get through some of the beginning arcs, I would be rewarded with a great story, and guys, I was absolutely not disappointed. I know what you're thinking. Why would I take the time to watch something that I struggled so hard to get through? And the answer is simple. I was told it was worth it. And since the moment I truly got into the show, I have not looked back. I've been rewarded with a great story and a great cast of characters. So where did the switch finally flip for me? Well, after we obtained ourselves the initial members, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, they make their way to the Baratie. Also, real quick, let me emphasize, you may love the first 20 episodes, by the way, as my first few watches were just kind of jaded by what I thought was a bad character at the time. But now, anytime I rewatch this saga, I have a much better appreciation and have no issues with the content. Anyway, so what's so good about the Baratie Arc? Well, quite honestly, the speed at which the story is delivered is fastened in pace, and the combat now involved the powerhouse unit known as the Monster Trio. You're also given a glimpse at what the power of the Grand Line looks like, with Zoro facing off against Mihawk. Also, let's just gloss over this for a moment. You can see all through the series thus far the fear that Zoro's name strikes across the people in the East Blue when his name is mentioned. So you as a reader and watcher know Zoro is a force to be reckoned with, only for him to be stopped by this small little letter opener. This was a huge moment for me that simply showed the scale at which the crew would need to grow before they are remotely close to obtaining their goals. Now back to Baratie. Zoro is facing Mihawk, Luffy is facing off against Don Krieg, and Sanji also shows his character's place within the Straw Hats in two ways. One, he shows that he is capable and far more of a combatant than Nami and Usopp, but we could have guessed that during this moment. And two, he takes on the vice captain of the Don Krieg Pirates and puts up a solid fight for his first fight in the series. Look, we're not expecting every fight to be easy as Luffy hitting Alvida. We're looking for a struggle to overcome, and I think Oda has done a fine job to make each fight more of a struggle from the starting battles in the series all the way to current One Piece. Now we see the Monster Trio in action. We've met the powers of the Grand Line, and now it's time to face one more enemy before the Straw Hats can move forward. And that's the Arlong Park arc. With the story pace quickening, we've made it now to Arlong Park. Most of this arc is waiting for Luffy to make his way over after defeating Don Krieg. It doesn't overstay its welcome. You're given an in-depth view of Nami's life and her childhood, and builds out how Arlong is legitimately the worst kind of person. The story surrounding the Arlong Park is definitely an emotional time, and I actually may do a deeper dive into this as its impact on the series as a whole, I believe, paints a picture of what is to come from the entire series. So leave a comment if you'd like a deeper dive into the Arlong Park arc. Moving on. It also has some pretty iconic moments for me that I'd like to share with you. From the moment Luffy places his hat on Nami when she finally asks for help, to the scene of Luffy and the rest of the crew making their march to Arlong Park. And lastly, what instills a huge impact to me to this very day is the fact that during Luffy's fight against Arlong, he comes to the conclusion that Arlong had basically made Nami a prisoner to his pirate crew, to the point where her pen was stained in blood while she was making maps for his crew. This enraged Luffy. I mean, we've seen Goofy Luffy all through the series up to this point. And at this moment, he just emanates straight Alpha Chad energy as he holds Arlong's weapon and stands still with his fingers, showing to be the level of importance that his crew means to him. I mean, that's absolutely a huge moment, and I'm sure Netflix adaptation will come close to the power of impact, but I just wanted to ensure that you got a full grasp of what occurs in this moment. Now, the last arc in the East Blue Saga, before getting into Grand Line, is the Logtown arc. The Logtown arc in One Piece stands as a pivotal moment in the series, leaving an impact on both the narrative and the heart of us fans. I mean, only spanning just a few episodes, this arc may appear short in comparison to the others, but its significance cannot be understated. At the heart of this arc lies a confrontation between Luffy and Marine Captain Smoker. He's also an Alpha Chad, by the way, and seems to be pretty much untouchable at this point in the show. The clash between them showcases Luffy's grit and tenacity as a fighter, which feeds the battle-hungry part of the audience, with quick and suspenseful battles. This face-off also introduces the concept of Logia Devil Fruit, an element that becomes instrumental in future arcs, making Logtown a crucial stepping stone in the overall narrative. Moreover, the arc introduces several vital elements of foreshadowing, teasing the mysteries yet to be unraveled. This was huge for me, as the story was lacking that touch. Specifically these two items. When the story finally introduced Goldie Roger's full lore, and the impact it left on Smoker, and the fact that there's a massive amount of historical blades within this world. I'm a big fan of world building, and introducing this small tidbit of information only opened my mind to endless possibilities of where they could have been hidden, which ones Zoro will have. All sorts of stuff was flowing through my brain thing. Also, The scene where Luffy heads to pay his respects to the late Goldie Roger's execution site encapsulates both the sense of adventure and the impending danger that lies ahead. As he finally makes his way to the site, he is re-encountered by both Buggy and Alvida, who have returned to extract revenge on him for his previous actions within the series. This moment reinforces the impact that Luffy has already made within the series and opens up the possibility that this will be a reoccurring theme where previous actions will impact the future of the crew, all whilst the Straw Hats are just going through their first journey through the Grand Line. Now lastly, within the Logtown arc, in terms of character development, Logtown arc delivers remarkably. It showcases not only Luffy's growth, but also highlights the individual strengths and qualities of Straw Hat crew members. A glimpse into Zoro's character, Nami's unknown talent of understanding weather patterns, and Usopp's determination to overcome his fears. These all shine through in this arc, allowing for Oda to truly elevate their roles beyond being just mere side characters to Luffy. And that concludes my review on the East Blue guys. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on the iconic part of the series. As always, I appreciate your support and engagement. If you're a fan of One Piece, or if you're planning to watch it for the first time, I highly recommend sticking through the initial episodes, despite some of the shortcomings. The story truly starts to shine in the middle of the saga, and from there it becomes a captivating adventure filled with great characters, emotional moments, and epic battles. Now, if you've already experienced the East Blue Saga, feel free to share your thoughts and memories in the comments below. I'm curious to know what impact this part of the journey had on you. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more anime reviews and discussions. Thank you again for joining me on this journey. Until next time, happy watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay awesome.